Stakes is high. You know them stakes is high when you talking about high.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back again for another illustrious Oliver Happy Hour. Today is Saturday, March 11th, 2023, and we're getting started off with this set with Politricks. This is our Politricks episode where we're getting into all things Politricks. And of course, this is Oliver Happy Hour right here live from the Eastside, the side of South Central LA. I'm here joined with my illustrious sisters, Daisy O.
Daisy O, always ready for the show.
And Debbie Dev.
Debbie Dev here in the building.
All right, y'all. So, yeah, just got to start off. You guys know who this is playing in the background?
No.
A Tribe Called Quest.
Close, but not it.
Oh.
Mobb
No. No, not Mobb.
No, a little bit earlier.
Wu-Tang Clan.
No.
This is not Wu-Tang Clan.
It's who's Black Quest? I mean, oh God. What is his
Most
name?
Def and Talib Kweli are Black Star. Is that who you're thinking of?
Yes.
Well, that's not it.
Oh God, Darren, what? Who
This
is
is De La Soul, you all.
Oh,
This
dang
is De La
it.
Soul. This
I
is
knew it
De
was
La
one of
Soul.
them.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
So De
Nikki
La.
would have known that.
Oh yeah. So this is Stakes is High off of their the title track off of their album Stakes is High.
Stakes is high.
Yeah, 1996. So
Nice.
around the same, Native Tongues Collective, same group as same collective as Tribe Called Quest. And if you would have said the Jungle Brothers, I would have given you extra brownie points. But
I don't
Yeah.
I've ever heard of the Jungle Brothers.
okay, well, but I bring up De La Soul because they just got their whole their whole discography has finally been released to streaming platforms.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Dave, one of the members, one of the original, the trio, he passed away about a little over a month ago, right before, this was released. And, they had taken a long time to get all the clearances and stuff from the record company so that they could release it. But yeah, very sad. But anyway, let's get into our Politricks episode. So today, what we're dedicating this episode is talking about gentrification and what is the difference between gentrification and redevelopment. So what do you all think? I mean, when you say gentrification, what do you think I'm saying, and what do you think I'm saying when I say redevelopment? Let's start there.
Let's go over the actual definition of gentrification. How about that?
What is gentrification?
What is
It is
gentrification?
the process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing and attracting new businesses, typically displacing current inhabitants in the process. Basically, the process of making someone or something more refined, polite, and respectable.
Ooh, where'd you get that definition from? That last part is kind of interesting.
Right.
Like I said,
It's the dictionary, Oxford Languages.
huh? Because read that last part again.
The process of making someone or something more refined, polite, and respectable.
Huh? Interesting. I never heard that second definition or second description of the word gentrification. So I'm glad you looked up the Oxford Dictionary version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the gist of it, right? It is basically
Bless you.
rich people moving into a poor neighborhood and causing the home prices in that neighborhood to increase dramatically to the point to either, if you own a home in that neighborhood, you will get a tremendous equity in your home overnight, figuratively speaking. Or if you are a renter in that area, unfortunately, you might have to leave. Even if you've been living there for a long period of time, unless you are in a protected unit with like rent control. Where there's rent stabilization, where it's only going to go up incrementally over time rather than the 6% that is right now a state law, right? So year over year, state law, 6% is an increase. But hey, when that unit is empty, say for instance, you have a landlord who's trying to make a buck, and what he's going to do is he's probably going to intimidate you until you leave. especially if you've been there for a
Sucks.
long period of time and the rent is lower than or substantially lower than market rate. So gentrification. So that's what it is, right? So literally, I think just even what I just described, I think that's part of it that people don't describe is that basically there's a frenzy on buying property in that neighborhood because now the neighborhood is hot. Like you said,
Yeah.
that people considered it refined or like the upside opportunity for an investor is immaculate.
Yeah.
So an investor, they come in and they buy the property with what intention?
To gentrify.
To gentrify.
To make a
too-
large return on their capital that they invested. So say, let's say they somebody buys a duplex for $300,000, right? And they want to fix it up. They want to, maybe they rehab it. They put in $80,000 into it, right? And so what do you think they want? They want market rate for that, right?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so market rate could be substantially higher than what the commanding rent was before or with the previous owner.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that new owner now probably even bought that property at an inflated price because of gentrification and because of interest in that area. So what they did is they probably have capital. They come in with an all cash offer to the owner, say, I will pay you all cash.
Yeah.
And then the tenants, they have to help pay that new landlord's mortgage that they just got for that huge
that
price.
property. Yeah, for the price of the new price of the property after gentrification.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's
what is
going on a lot?
Yeah, especially in
nowadays.
this area.
This area, Inglewood, Venice.
Well, Venice is done.
Venice is done. Yeah,
Venice
that already happened.
That happened 20 years
that was-
ago.
okay.
Yeah, over 20.
Yeah.
20 years ago, Venice started. Venice was in the grips of it. Yeah.
You know what happened in Santa Monica years ago in like the 60s? Because Santa Monica was actually an area. That's why they have the black area of the beach that was rededicated because it was primarily black and Latino people living there until it was gentrified.
Right.
This was again in like the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
And so many people actually moved more inland, people of color specifically, moved more inland to Compton. And Compton was actually a white neighborhood. So those people that lived in Compton moved to Santa Monica, and those that lived in Santa Monica moved to like Compton, Inglewood, South Central LA. So that is what happens. It just kind of shifts everybody around.
Basically.
And and that happens like really, really frequently. So, I mean, especially in Los Angeles where the price of living is just exponentially high compared to, I don't know, Midwest.
Midwest, South,
right.
South.
So let's speak about that. So let's break this up. So there's 2 points even to your statement, Daisy. I mean, for one, the price in Los Angeles, the median price is much higher than other urban areas. For one, for two, you got to talk about how racially segregated the city of Los Angeles is. But let's get to the first part. And just talking about the interest. People want to be in Los Angeles because we are a global city.
Yeah.
We're global. People know about us all
Melting
over the world. And for that reason, unfortunately, you got a lot of rich people who want to be here because they want to be around Hollywood. They want to be around the weather.
Of course.
Right? So because it garners this interest in we're competing against people who are doing well financially. And it doesn't mean that they worked for it. They could be on daddy's paycheck or somebody else's paycheck. They could be taking debt. People just willing to take out debt to live here. It's higher than in other places. We're not living in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Right.
We ain't living in Tallahatchie. We ain't in Springfield.
Right.
We are in a large urban area where people are willing to pay that much.
Yes.
Or it might be economically advantageous for somebody because you're an actor, you're a producer, you're a billionaire. All these tech companies are luring them to come down here. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that is absolutely
The city gives economic incentives for tech companies to come down here and build up shop.
Yeah, that's what just happened in Marina Del Rey, that area, because you have the Silicon Valley, but then they moved YouTube, they moved what else? They moved Snapchat, they moved a bunch of different Apple tech companies to Marina Del Rey. and then
Playa Vista area.
Playa Vista, yeah. Sorry,
now that's what they call it, Playa Vista, because it was nothing but swampland over there.
Right. And then they just they developed very quickly all of these huge buildings,
and they do it very fast.
Yeah,
like within 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
For real.
Shit, I was driving down Jefferson. I was like, when they built all this stuff over here?
Exactly. Like,
last time I was over here, this was grassland. This was a marsh over here.
Exactly.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
So that happens. So what's the difference between redevelopment?
Okay, well, let's finish the second part.
Okay.
Oh, the second part.
Right, so we got the interest, right? People are interested in coming here, which inflates the price. The second part is that we're racially segregated here.
Yes.
More than any other, well, I shouldn't say more than any other place, but more than any other, well, I should say more than other urban areas, you know, like compared to like New York,
Chicago.
Los Angeles. Well, I don't know, I can't speak about Chicago, but, you know, I've been in New York. You know, we are segregated, and we've always been segregated, even though it's the West. You know, there was redlining going on in a major way out here.
Yeah.
You know, even the area in which we're at right now, over here on the east side, in the Florence Firestone area. You know, when Granddaddy bought this house, it was full of Italians.
Yes.
He told, I mean, and Granddaddy was, you know, he grew up here. He came over here as a 12-year-old boy during the Great Depression. I'm sorry, an 8-year-old boy during the Great Depression, 1937, right?
Right.
Before LA even grew. I mean, in this area, he said south of Slauson was all white people. You could not buy a house.
Yeah.
He was able to buy this house after the Supreme Court ruled against redlining that enabled him, because there was racial covenants that prevented him from buying this house until, you know, 1953, he bought this house, right?
Yeah.
And so just even considering that, and how just neighborhoods, how they continue to be racially segregated, and not just by, because that's the misconception. People think that just because you don't have a covenant in your deed that says don't only sell this to white people, or you cannot sell this to a colored person, like which was actually in deeds out here.
Yeah.
If you look up the records, you'll see it. It said that specifically. Keep niggas out of here.
Yeah.
I don't want, you can't sell it to them.
Yeah.
And so literally, how can you control somebody else buying it even later down the line? So anyway, that was ruled illegal. But economically, are you still able to? There is a bank, I forget the name of the bank, I'll look it up in a moment after I finish talking, but there was a bank that just had to settle over $30 million because just between 2017 to 2020, they racially discriminated against Latino and Black families who were trying to buy houses in the very neighborhoods that they resided in. Banks are still not giving loans to people of color. So when people say, well, why don't you guys just buy up your own neighborhood? Well, when you present the money, so please don't say shit to me unless you're a banker.
Right.
Please don't try and shide somebody and try and make somebody feel bad that they can't access capital because a bank has been discriminating against them.
Right.
Won't give them a shot, but give John Smith a shot. You know, can't even buy in your own neighborhood. You live in the hood, and you can't even buy in the hood. They're opening it up to somebody else to buy in the hood.
Right.
So I always bring that part up as well when you talk about gentrification. We've all missed the gentrification train because they told us that we can't even buy up our neighborhood. Right. They've been putting it up for fire sale prices to each other. And I'm talking about not only like corporations, out-of-state corporations, but you're talking about companies out here that are racially discriminating against. And I bet you they don't look like us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
so let's go into what is redevelopment. So what is redevelopment?
What is redevelopment?
Tearing down property that is, I don't know, of no substance and making something bigger and better.
I'm glad you're saying of no substance and things like that. Well, because that's part of redevelopment, right? Is you're taking something that might be blighted, right? A rundown building. You're saying that you're going to knock it down and build like a 4-story residential complex. Yeah. Good for the community, right? Let's get community buy-in, right? Right. So that's redevelopment, right? Coming in, changing something and making new construction, making new and more purposeful use of something, right?
Yes, I have the Wikipedia definition.
Okay, Daisy.
What does
What's
it
the
say?
Wikipedia?
Redevelopment is any new construction on a site that has pre-existing uses. It represents a process of land development uses to revitalize the physical, economic, and social fabric of urban space.
Ooh, urban space, huh?
That's what Wikipedia says.
Oh,
right.
It got to be urban, huh?
Well, yeah, because redevelopment usually is that you're already taking something that is there.
Right.
Something is already there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come in. And
knock shit down.
Yes, I am going to knock it down and say that something new shall be here.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to get buy-in because you have to get people behind you, right? Like, oh, we're going to knock down this old liquor store and build a community center.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But what's the bad part about that sometimes, you know? There was a whole neighborhood downtown Los Angeles that was raised called Bunker Hill.
I remember this.
Bunker Hill contained many historic Victorian homes. So people think like, oh, how come you don't have no old-timey houses around L.A.? They used to be around Bunker Hill. Now, Bunker Hill, where is that right now? That's where the financial district is. You know, you think of the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Yeah, that's Bunker Hill. You think of the Arco Plaza, Wells Fargo Plaza, Ernst & Young, all those towers and big towers that are downtown, that is all Bunker Hill. And in the 1950s and 60s, the city of Los Angeles said, we're going to take these this whole neighborhood, and we're going to knock this shit down and build something good. We're going to build a whole Los Angeles needs a financial district. We need high rises. Fuck you guys that live over here.
Yeah.
You guys look poor. All this stuff looks run down. Look at your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes is eminent domain, right? That's redevelopment. A city saying that we want this to be something else.
Right.
And so we haven't really had massive redevelopment like that really since they constructed the 105 freeway, the Interstate 105 freeway, the Century Freeway, you know, which, you know, well, after it was planned and started building in the 80s, it knocked down blocks. People's homes used to be where the 105 is. You know, just think the 105 is big. It's 5 lanes on one side, 5 lanes on the other, and got a train line in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Huge.
Those are whole blocks of neighborhood.
Right.
All the way from Norwalk to El Segundo that were taken.
Yeah, and they bought those houses out. They basically paid people to get up out of their houses and move
somewhere else.
It displaced a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially black people that live there.
Yeah.
And it affected the social mobility and the ability to pass down the equity in those homes to future generations.
Yeah, for some people who remember, maybe that was grandma's house. Maybe that was auntie's house. Maybe that was the block that they grew up on. I remember having a client talking about like, you know, like I lived over there, you know, off of such and such street or whatever. Because all the way through, you got to think of all those neighborhoods. Hawthorne, all the way through. Gardena, going through Willowbrook, Norwalk, you know, Linwood. All those neighborhoods, all the way through. So anyway, so that was the last massive one in Los Angeles County. They did the same thing through the 70s in Alhambra, right? For the extension of the 710 freeway. That Caltrans, the state of California, owns many of those homes that had been sitting vacant. They had been sitting empty. We're in a housing crisis.
Right.
You guys got this project that's not going to come to fruition. They're not going to build the extension to the 710 freeway.
Yeah.
No.
But they own all these properties, right? And so what happened 2 years ago is that you had squatters going in, you know, housing rights advocates saying, like, we're going to break into these motherfuckers and we're going to move people in.
Yeah.
So they allowed the housing authority. They allowed the housing authority to issue that person a Section 8 voucher so that it would actually be legal for them. But they only gave them like 1 year lease. After the year came up, they said, "Get the fuck out." Change their mind.
Gosh.
Wow.
You know that? Like, you know we just did that for KTLA.
Oh my
We didn't do that because we meant it. But anyway, so.
Crazy.
But anyway, so that's redevelopment, and so right now, as we speak, they're redeveloping Jordan Downs. So what is Jordan Downs? Right.
That is a
Look up Jordan
project.
Downs. Look up Jordan Downs. So Jordan Downs, right, is projects.
It's a
Yeah.
project.
So and that's what we call it on the street. You call them projects, right?
Yeah.
But literally, they were project-based housing because what were they initially built for?
I don't know. What were they built for?
Devin, what were they originally built for?
For Section 8?
No, not for Section 8. This was even
Um,
before Section 8 existed when they built them. They were built as worker housing. They were built during World War II
Okay.
for defense industry jobs, right?
Oh,
World
wow.
War II, you got people coming over here on the West Coast because remember, we had all these defense manufacturing that existed through the 90s, through the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
We had Northrop Grumman, we had Raytheon, we had Boeing, we had all these big companies here making defense systems and weapons and all kinds of things, designing and manufacturing them. So you think you're making all this stuff. You need parts, you need supplies. So we had a big wartime industry here in Los Angeles, right? We had one of the major bases here in Los Angeles, right? Port of Los Angeles, run by the Navy. They closed that down in the 90s. But we had all that here.
It says Jordan Downs was originally built in the 1940s as housing for workers during World War II and was converted into public housing in the 1950s.
There you go. So that is why those old buildings at Jordan Downs and at many other projects that we call them, they were developed as worker housing, right? And you said they converted them into public housing. In the 1960s, the cabinet level department, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, was created by President Lyndon Baines Johnson, along with the Fair Housing Act, right? So a part of that, it created two tiers of housing, right? You have public housing, right? Public housing is where projects are. Jordan Downs is a public housing project, right? Anybody can get into it. The issue that people don't like is that once people are in with politicians, bureaucrats, administrators, what they don't like is that once you are in public housing, people don't want to leave.
Right.
Yeah, because it's affordable.
It's affordable, right? In an urban community where there's low income.
Right. Yeah. So how are they gonna knock down the Jordan Downs? How is that even gonna happen?
Well, I'm sorry. Well, let me finish this point because so we got two tiers, right?
Yeah.
You got public housing, and then you have subsidized housing, right?
Yeah.
So public housing occurs on whose property?
The public.
Right. The
The
government owns
Right.
the land.
Yeah.
Right. And they have housing available to people who are on a wait list. You apply, you have to meet income restrictions or things like that, and you have the housing. Now, what's subsidized housing? Subsidized housing is Section 8.
Oh.
Subsidized housing means that the government will pay
part of it
and pay a portion to a private owner.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So the government cuts a check to an owner who owns a private piece of property who is renting it out to a Section 8 voucher holder or someone who has this entitlement. So what's the difference? What's the main difference, guys, ladies?
One is fully paid for, and one is a portion partially paid for.
One
is owned, and one is rent or paid for, subsidized.
So one would think that one might have a fixed price. I mean, assuming that included in it is ongoing maintenance or an endowment for maintenance for the property, right? So there should be a fixed rate, right?
Right.
The price that it is to cost is that's what you're paying down on. You're not raising the price to say to Miss Johnson, oh, it's 2023, Miss Johnson. We have to go up on your rent from $600 to $800 just because the marketplace says that I can charge you $800. Right?
Yeah.
Now with Section 8, that's what you got.
Yeah.
That's what you had. You're beholden to the market. So what does that mean? That means the housing authority keeps having to increase the rates in order to keep up with where the market is going.
Yeah.
And if there's a lack of available units, what does that mean? That means the price is going to go up, which means that the amount of vouchers that you can give to people is going to decrease.
Yeah.
Unless you keep up with the level of inflation. Right? So what does that mean? That means to me, that means okay. So anyway, so so we described the two levels. So Daisy, you got to the point. You said, what are they doing to Jordan Downs?
So what? Why are they knocking down? Why would they knock down the Jordan Downs? We just talked about why it's useful to the people, why it's affordable, why people live there who are on low income. Why would they even consider redeveloping it or knocking it down to redevelop it?
Well, why do they redevelop stuff, Daisy?
Let's read that definition again.
Money.
Uses to revitalize the physical, economic, and social fabric of urban space.
Because it's old, Daisy. It's almost 100. It's 80 years old.
Yeah.
Look at this old shit. These 2-story buildings. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's 103 buildings. Yeah. With townhouse style units.
And those are
that's the new ones. The newer ones are going to be townhouse style units.
Oh, those.
The original ones are just apartment style. Apartment style, like two-story buildings, right?
And it's 42 acres.
Large.
It's huge.
And so at the time when they were building housing like that, they were using like a Piaget, who was and Corbusier. They were urban. If you look at I studied metropolitan studies or urban studies in school, and these were architects who had a frame of mind, who were teaching theory. Oh. And they created what you would call in New York, in Chicago, they created what you would call like a tower and park model. Oh. Meaning that in order to combat against urbanism or urban decay, they'd said, well, we're going to build buildings in a park-like setting, that if people are around greenery instead of streets, then maybe they will have better, better social skills and things like that, because parks are nice. So that's why if you go around Jordan Downs, you see it is a lot of green space around it. So what are they redeveloping it into, right? So let's get into that. They're knocking down Jordan Downs. They're knocking down that tower and park model, taking away green space, and they're building. This is what I don't like. They're building streets. They're building townhouses. That's what they're replacing Jordan Downs with townhouses.
Yeah, but it's not going to be multiple levels. Like it's
going to be like three. It's going to be like 3 stories. So instead of 2 stories, but it's going to be mixed income.
Got it.
So no longer do they want to say to people, okay, we're going to have all of you people on public housing live together. Now, with that model of development, of redevelopment, it's saying we want mixed income. So we want people of different income brackets here. We can't have all of you guys on general relief and food stamps over here. We got to have some people who make some money.
How is that even going to work? How are they going to get like people that actually make money to go to what used to be the Jordan Downs?
Well, because then you won't have a choice. If you want a 3-bedroom apartment and you making some money, and it's like, this is a 3-bedroom apartment over here off of the new Century, like how they extended Century all the way to Alameda over there. That's over on the other side. You're gonna take it.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you're in LA and it's crowded and you ain't got no.
Look, all you can be satisfied is that it's a new building.
Well, yeah. They said it consists of 103 buildings with townhouse style units ranging from 1 bedroom to 5 bedrooms. The complex is owned and managed by the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles.
So look, how those units, each of those units are working is that it's basically like you get a project-based voucher. So that's how they're doing everything nowadays, is through vouchers. It's no more really, they're not building or expanding public housing or actually trying to save public housing. They're trying to convert them to Section 8.
How do you get these vouchers? Right. You have to apply through the government?
Yeah, you have to get on the list. You have to get on the list. You have to get on one of the wait lists, which opens periodically. The wait list had opened about probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Right.
So you can either do that, or you have to be on the coordinated entry system, which is managed by the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, meaning that you go to one of the coordinated entry system intake centers and let them know that you're either street homeless or staying in your car.
Is that LASA?
Yeah, LASA. Okay, LASA. And your name will be placed on a list where you might get called someday based on your record of disability.
Huh.
Interesting.
I mean, I feel like these changes are happening rather quickly.
Yes.
So how quickly are people going to how quickly are people aware of it, and do if they are not supportive of it, how do they like petition or not riot.
Not riot. We don't want to riot.
riot.
We
Not
don't want to riot.
what do you call it when people
Protest?
Protest.
Protest.
Thank you. Oh, Lord, help me, Lord. When people protest, how are people supportive of this? Do they want this to happen, and what's gonna happen to all those people that currently live there?
So the people who currently live there, they were given vouchers to either relocate or they do get dibs on the new units that are coming on.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Okay.
They get
Okay.
dibs on
But,
it.
So they
many,
get
but
first-
right,
first
many of them
option.
were already given vouchers so that they could relocate. Like they
Mhm.
were given Section 8 vouchers or the option of Section 8 vouchers to go
Okay.
find their own unit, and I believe that they could also move into some of the new units. But the contentious point is that the new units, the number is smaller than the amount of units that it's replacing.
Mm. Wow. Right. Because I'm like,
It's a lower amount. It's a lower
I
amount.
thought so. What Devin mentioned initially, it was like 200 something units.
And now it's like going to be like 180 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's the big thing. And some people would say, oh, well, that's because you have 5-bedroom units and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But look, to me, it was a completely missed opportunity in redeveloping that area and not building at least a 10-story or
Yeah.
at least a few 8-story, 10-story buildings to
Mhm.
house more people.
Which I was gonna say,
You
what
got
is it
42
zoned-
acres.
What is it zoned for? If it's zoned for a higher building, why wouldn't they build like that? That's very strange.
No,
to
I mean,
me.
granted, I don't know. It could be in the flight path. I don't know. But look, the Metropolitan Detention Center is not that far away. So I'm like, maybe it couldn't have been 10 stories, but it sure as hell could have been
8,
4 or
yeah,
5
yeah,
or
yeah.
6
Yeah. Yeah.
with a basement.
True.
Well, maybe not a basement because that costs extra money to dig down. But
Mhm.
look, it could have been larger.
Yeah. What you got to think about parking and like where people are gonna park their car and
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, but you can build. They got buildings right now that they have on Compton Avenue.
Yeah, with
Not
parking
too far
structures.
away. Yeah, that are built on podiums.
Mhm.
So it's like it's going to cost a little bit more money, but because to me it's like when you drive over there, go drive over there down the new Century.
Mhm.
Because Century used to cut off right when you got around like Grape Street or like like it used to cut right off.
Mhm.
Right, like after
Mhm.
you go to Ted Watkins, it kind of narrows down. But now they built it goes straight through to Alameda.
Oh, really?
You didn't know that because that's where the new Smart and
No, 'cause
Final
I
is.
don't really go down.
Well, yeah.
Century
Well, I'm
like
over.
that.
Yeah, I'm over
I
here
don't.
now. So it's like that's what they got a Smart and Final over
Mhm.
there. They got like a new
Past Ted Watkins,
wing
I'm like it. Like you said, it narrows down.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I gotta be over here because this is I gotta go shopping and stuff.
Right,
So,
right.
but over there, it's a new shopping plaza that they built. But what they're doing is that it's more streets
Mm-hmm.
because look. Jordan Downs is like I told you, right? The Tower and Park model.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
all this green space.
Mhm.
So you literally just have it's just a big block of buildings that you have to. So look, I understand for certain people, like especially for the elderly, you want a street so you can have a car that comes right up to the door or as close to the door as possible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's to me is like, well, that's where a building should have been.
Yeah.
Yes.
With an elevator to help.
Hello.
More units. You got units designated for seniors. We got units designated for people who are disabled.
Mhm.
And so to me, it's just a completely missed opportunity as they are redeveloping it because more space is being eaten up by streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're building a park and a community center, but look, it's not going to replace the fact that you're taking up grass, you're taking up play area and play spaces to build a dead-end street and multiple dead-end streets.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's their goal is to push people out too. Like maybe this
I
area
mean,
is just overcrowded.
And
Look,
that is-
where else are people want to go?
Right.
To the
that
south.
part. But I'm saying like that may be their goal is to kind of push people
that
out.
probably is the goal to push people out to, I guess, depopulate the
Yeah.
city of Los Angeles. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So where
Kinda
is it?
sucks.
Where is it happening? We talked about the Jordan Downs. We talked about Inglewood. We talked about the East
We didn't
Side.
talk about Inglewood yet.
Well,
Oh,
we
we
just
haven't talked about. We mentioned it.
yeah, because they're building
Right.
that new into a dome across
Right.
from
And-
SoFi,
Uh-huh.
and that's what off Prairie and Century.
Yeah,
Wait, is
that's
that
off of Century. Yeah, that's off of Century.
Prairie and Century.
But also, with the Hollywood Park redevelopment, they're also building houses. So it's going to be some units that are over there, and they're adding units to a place where it was just a parking lot.
And I feel like, so I've been kind of looking at the Into a Dome or whatever, and I actually had went to a restaurant that was newly built, like I want to say maybe less than 6 months ago. It's called Cork and Batter, and it was
What's one of them black owned?
yeah, it was in, I guess it was a Motel 6 right there, but they changed it to, I forgot what the hotel is called, but it's a different hotel.
On Century?
On Century.
I know right where that is because you said Motel 6, and I'm like, I remember. It's,
So,
the motel.
so
it's a little boutique hotel now.
It's now a new boutique hotel, and Cork and Batter is like, it's basically connected to it. It's like the hotel restaurant, right? Black owned. I can't say that I had a great experience the first time I was there, which is
That's disappointing.
very disappointing. Food good, atmosphere, like the ambiance and everything. They have a rooftop and whatever, good, but they really need to hire new people.
Yeah.
What, people had attitude?
Yes.
But see, no, because look, if look, we talked about this even before about even a place. It's like you got to be in a good mood to be around people.
Yes.
If you're gonna be moody and stuff, maybe you need to be busting tables.
If you're gonna be in,
you need to come around after
that's
people
my
leave.
thing. If you're gonna be in any type of hospitality, restaurant, hotel, like if you're gonna be doing, if you're gonna be working in that business, you definitely need to always be in a good mood when you're working.
Yeah,
and if
that's
you
a
are
fact.
not, then stay your ass at home.
Yeah, you need to call out.
Because you're going to be in, being around people all the time.
I don't even want you making my food. Shit,
Right.
my food gonna taste like shit. Your badass attitude.
But anyways, I just wanted to mention, like, in that area, like, because I've seen it on Spectrum News, Cork and Batter, like, the owner of it was saying, like, oh, yeah, we're looking forward to the Into a Dome. Like, we're going to, if you can't make it to the games, then, because obviously that's going to be the home of the Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers. And he was just saying, like, we're going to get so much business. We're excited. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, as, having experienced the restaurant, I'm just like, I really hope that they have better staff than what they have now. So, yeah.
Yeah. Are they just not trained in customer service?
I think they need to
attitude.
Yes.
I think with if you're working in hospitality and it's not explicitly stated, like, because but that's the thing just with training is that what I've noticed just lately is that people don't have a good sense of training or structure around being trained about, like, well, what is the experience that we want to offer to people?
Right.
Like, I mean, look, if you're not into making sure that a person has a good experience here, then maybe customer service or hospitality isn't your line of work, and that's okay.
And that's
right,
okay.
and
that's okay.
That
UPS is
okay.
hiring.
Exactly.
You better not fuck up my delivery. You better put it in the right place.
No,
my
for
package.
real.
Anyway,
For
so but anyway, back to gentrification. I know it is a little side tangent, but Inglewood, that's where it's happening a lot because you do have the redevelopment of SoFi, and right when they announced SoFi Stadium being built, then prices in Inglewood start going up.
Yes.
Look, stuff is going for $1.4 million over in Inglewood. And you just talking about a regular ass 3-bedroom house, and maybe they got a little 1-bedroom ADU in the back.
What the hell?
$1.5 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like that stuff it's unsustainable. But I guess people are actually buying.
Yes.
People are actually buying this stuff, and that is why the prices continue to persist.
Yes.
I mean, and good luck to anybody out there. I mean, who's out there trying to
protest. Like, if you got it, that don't mean you got it.
But the state, look.
It.
Now, as we're talking about gentrification versus redevelopment, and we're talking about these things, like, look, some of the things that I've noticed is because I work in housing as a job. That's what I do day to day. I work and help people try to find housing. But one of the biggest things that I have seen that the state legislature, we have to petition to the state legislature so that these owners are not making money off of application fees.
Yes.
Look, they will say $50 or $60 for an application fee to run your credit and tell you that you're not selected.
Yes.
You have a right to ask for a copy of your background check.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have it, if you don't have Credit Karma, anything, if they have taken your money, you have a right to ask them for a copy of that background check or that credit report that they generated. And if they did not generate that or run that, they need to give you your money back.
Yeah.
Right.
And you need to demand that.
Right.
And because, look, I had heard around town like that, a particular owner made over $1 million 1 year
That is crazy.
off of application fees.
That's crazy.
What?
Yes.
That's crazy. Over $1 million?
Over $1 million. But you got to think, if somebody's paying $50, $60 and you get a bunch of, look, you don't have to have that many units. I mean, if you're a big property manager, maybe you have 100, 300 units that come online, and just imagine how many people, multiple people are applying to the unit.
But
For
that don't mean that you have to run their credit.
You're not running their
Right.
credit, but they're not asking for their money back.
Exactly, because they don't know that they can do it. They don't know that they can ask for a copy and act, or if they don't give a copy, then
People are going broke
don't know
applying
that.
for units,
That is
right?
freaking
People
crazy.
don't know
Yes.
that they have a right to ask.
Yeah.
People don't know that. So, look, the state needs to do something about
Yes.
that. The state needs to do something as well as making sure to have a hotline.
Yes.
More hotlines available for tenancy education and support
Yes.
for when owners raise the rent more than 6%
Mhm.
year over year.
Yes.
Because, look, many people have to decide to leave because they're like, oh, I can't afford this because the owner raised the rent 20%.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, that's illegal.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
That is
Yes.
illegal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, look, where it is headed in this state with gentrification and the rise in rents. Because, look, by virtue, look, you might not even have gentrification. You just, in some situations in your neighborhood, you might just have a greedy-ass owner who probably just bought the
Greedy.
building at an inflated price because they wanted to raise the rent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, we got the other thing the state legislature needs to deal with is all these corporations from out of state coming into California, buying up our buildings, and deciding to triple and double the rent because they want to make money off of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
The
just
state
greedy.
needs to do something about that.
Yeah.
Any LLC, you motherfuckers better pay a high tax for trying to buy property out
Yes.
here. If you don't live here and you're not here, you need to pay an extra tax, motherfucker.
Okay.
You need to pay an extra tax or sell your property.
Or sell the
Yeah.
property.
Sell the property.
Yes.
Right.
You know, and that is literally what's going on right now. Is you got all these corporations and LLCs based in New York buying up property out here, trying to put a little bit of money in it, but then expecting, $2,000 for a shack
Yeah.
just because they want to make a
For a
return on their
shack.
investment.
For
Yeah.
a shack.
They're
Okay.
they're milking us for the money. So I want people to
Yes.
get upset, people to get angry.
Yeah.
Child,
As
one
they
reason
should.
why I'm still at home.
As they should. No, but the problem is that people are not educated on this stuff. People
Right.
don't really know.
Exactly.
People don't really know about that you can ask for your money back.
Yes.
Like ask for a copy or get your money back. Like they're just not aware, they're not educated, and we have to do better, as a people.
And just to inform everybody, like if you got the knowledge, what is it?
Each one, teach one.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes.
So hopefully all you listeners have learned something on this episode, okay? If you out there trying to look for an apartment and you putting in applications and they ain't gave you a copy of your background, you better get your money back, okay?
Yes. Yes. Facts.
Look, you need to just ask.
Just ask.
Just ask. And sometimes it
Just
doesn't
ask.
it doesn't take an attitude,
Just ask.
but it takes an inquiry. You gotta have your inquisitive mind ask the question and know what your right is.
Yes.
Because look, people will disrespect you and people will take your money
Yes.
and keep going away. They already rented out the apartment, but
Yes.
they kept it open just to see if somebody was going to pay that money just so they could say, sorry, it's rented to somebody else.
Right.
Aren't you tired of that?
Yeah.
Aren't you
Yes.
sick of that?
Hello.
Aren't you sick of the rent being too damn high and
Hello.
keep going up?
Yes.
Hey,
Okay.
we got to do something about it.
Petition.
Yes, legislation, like know your rights.
But
know your rights,
in the end, just to wrap up, look, redevelopment or gentrification, no matter what it is, the interest of the elite is going to come out in both of them. Whether or not it's redevelopment, that's just nothing but a political class of politicians appeasing to developers with redevelopment.
Yeah.
Jordan Downs, hey, look, if they would have taken care of the buildings in the first place, they could have lasted 150 years. The motherfuckers are made out of brick. You kidding me? You telling me you couldn't fix the roof over there, but you guys want to build a whole community that has less units than the one that you're replacing? For who? Oh, yeah, maybe for a developer. Maybe for them asphalt, for all them damn streets you're building instead of green spaces. Maybe that's what they're doing. And let's consider that. This is Politricks.
Yes.
You know, gentrification or redevelopment, all we're doing is helping the vested elite who own property.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we need to stop helping them. We need to help each other.
We need to help each other.
other. Say it again. We need to
help each other. Each one teach one. Just ask a question. Each one teach one.
Oh, Lord.
Just ask a question.
Yes.
All
For
right.
real.
That was good, Darren. That was good.
That was good. That was good.
Well, all right.
All right.
It's time.
Yeah, y'all, that's it. So that is Politricks for today. That is our episode on redevelopment versus gentrification. So
Yes.
we're going to wrap up. Tune in for the next episode, y'all. I think we're going to continue a little bit of this conversation and probably just dive deeper into other things.
Right.
And to hot topics and things like that. What's popping?
Yeah.
But yeah, take care of yourself, friends. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself.
All right.
And we should end with our Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. All right, y'all.
Have a great week.
Take care.
So precious. It's yours, it's mine, only one at a time. My life.